Hello and welcome back to another exciting, informative episode of Learn English with the Trainer. My name's Cal. I've trained hundreds and thousands of people, non-native English speakers, to speak perfect English over the past 10 years plus. I might have a few tips for you. Why don't you stick around and find out? We've got English contractions coming up next. That very much brings us to an obvious question. What are English contractions? A contraction is when a word or a phrase is shortened by dropping a few letters. We normally put an apostrophe to symbolize the missing letter. Let's look at a few examples. Now, before we move on to examples, let's try and see why are contractions important in English. What do they do for you? Contractions help you de-emphasize on words which are not as important. While they are important, they're not as important as content words. In addition to that, contractions are divided into two categories: affirmatives and the negative contractions. Affirmatives like I'm, I've, I'd are reduced, fast-paced, and quite suppressed. That means we do not stress on them. Negative contractions, on the other hand, are stressed, are emphasized on, and are high-pitched. Let's see a few examples. For example, I am is reduced to I'm, which is further reduced to while speaking. Let's take a look at an example. First, with I am. I'm going to the party. Doesn't sound natural. I'm going to the party. That's how it's spoken, because a contraction's basic function, or the reason we use contractions, is to move the focus away from I am to going to the party. So, are you going to the party? Yeah, I'm going to the party tonight. Next example, they would becomes they'd. They'd. Say it with me, come on. They'd. They would becomes they'd. Let's look at an example. If it was up to my parents, they would keep me home forever. Sounds unnatural. So let's say it this way. If it was up to my parents, they'd keep me home forever. Come on, let's try again. They'd keep me home forever. Come on, try. They'd. They'd. Not they would. They'd. We are becomes we're. We're. For example, first the sentence with we are. We are trying to figure this out. We're trying to figure this out. Example number 1 of a negative contraction is not. Is not becomes isn't. Your mom is not angry anymore. Wow, thank God. But let's look at this with the contraction. Your mom isn't angry anymore. Hopefully not. Say it with me, come on. Is not becomes isn't. Isn't. It's a Z sound here. Isn't. She isn't at the party. Where the hell did she go? She isn't at the party. He isn't at the school. He isn't interested in what you've got to say. Try that again with me. Have not becomes haven't. Come on, say it with me. Have not, haven't. For example, I have not had the chance to go to the movies. I haven't had the chance to go to the movies. Have not simply becomes haven't. Say it with me. Haven't. Could not becomes couldn't. Could not becomes couldn't. He could not tell her how he feels. He couldn't tell her how he feels, of course, about her. Next example of a negative contraction is would not becomes won't. Come on, say with me. Would not, won't. For example, I would not be able to make it to the party. I won't be able to make it to the party. I won't be able to get there in time, like most of the cops say in those movies. I won't be able to save her because in the story she dies. So come on, let's cut the joke and go back to would not, won't. Would not, won't. Try that again. Next example. Was not becomes wasn't. Was not becomes wasn't. That was not my fault. Now let's try with the contraction. That wasn't my fault. That wasn't me. That wasn't. Was not, wasn't. Again, there's a Z sound here. Wasn't. Come on, say it with me. You've got to say this with me. Was not becomes wasn't. Wasn't. Next example. Does not becomes doesn't. Does not becomes doesn't. There's a Z sound again. Say it again with me. Doesn't. 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 She does not want to talk to us. Now let's try saying this with a contraction. She doesn't want to talk to us. She doesn't want to talk to us. But if we do stress this, we do not say this silently. It's because, again, there's a Z sound here. One of the most important things to understand is Z, the Z sound, Z, is a result of pressurizing and adding vibration to an S sound. So does not becomes doesn't. Doesn't. She doesn't want to talk to us. She doesn't want to be friends anymore. I could use a bit of encouragement through your subscription. So if you've liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want something explained in specific, feel free to leave us a comment. And I'll see you when I'll see you. Till next time, goodbye.